Good evening. On behalf of the League of Women Voters, Sonoma County, and the Petaluma branch of the American Association of University Women, I'd like to welcome you to a candidates forum for the candidates running for school board trustees, Petaluma City Schools. I'm Pam Grainger. I'll be your moderator for this 50-minute, really quick, really fast introduction to 5 great candidates. Tonight you're only going to get a brief look, sort of a taste of what they're about, maybe put a face with the name. We're on a tight schedule, so I'd like to ask you to hold your applause till the very end. I'll tell you when. Let's get started. Petaluma City Schools has a board of 5 members, who are elected for 4-year terms. Half of them, give or take, are elected every 2 years. This year, Petaluma will decide on, of the 5 candidates, they will elect 3 for new board members. Before we introduce the candidates, I'd like to give you an idea of the pattern for tonight's forum. First, each candidate will make a 2-minute opening statement. The last one to open will be the first one to close. They drew cards for the position on the dais. Then we'll have a question and answer period. Each candidate will have an opportunity to respond for 1.5 minutes. The first, it will be possible for you in the audience to ask questions. You perhaps received a 3x5 card as you came in. If you write a question that's suitable of a general nature for all of the candidates, we'd love to take a look at it. We'll have 1 prepared question and 2 from the audience. Following the question and answer period, each candidate will have another 2 minutes to give closing remarks. There's a forum for the Petaluma City Council and Mayor immediately following at 6:30, so we're going to be doing a quick change right in front of you in just a little while. Our timekeepers this evening are Gail Hooley and Patricia Souza. Wave hi, gals. One of the timekeepers will indicate with a yellow card when there are 30 seconds remaining. When the time is up, she will display a red card and will ask that you complete your sentence and quit speaking. So our candidates will make their opening statements in the order that you see. First, we're going to hear from Phoebe Ellis. Ms. Ellis.
Thank you very much, Ms. Grainger, and the American Association of University Women, as well as the Sonoma County League of Voters for hosting this forum this evening. I am Phoebe Ellis, and I think it's a nice opportunity for all of the candidates to be here and to be heard and exchange ideas, and to also have an opportunity to listen to the public, listen to ideas and questions from the public. I am currently on the Board of Trustees. I was appointed in the summer of 2013, and I decided to run for a 4-year position because I believe that I do add perspective as a mother of 3 children in the district, as a local business owner, as a former PTA president, as a classroom volunteer, as a community volunteer, and as a sports fan and ballet fan. I was born and raised here in Petaluma. I attended Petaluma City Schools, graduated from Petaluma High School in 1987, attended college in Boston, at Boston College, and then received a joint law and social work degree from Loyola University of Chicago. I then worked for the City and County of San Francisco for 9 years in the Code Enforcement Division, as well as representing the Department of Human Services in abuse and neglect cases, dealing directly with children and families. I currently work at our family business, Lace House Linen, here in Petaluma, which is turning 100 years in 1915. And I deal with human resources as well as employee satisfaction, and I'm familiar with budget and managing a fiscal budget. I live here with my family. Jeff is my husband. I have 3 children. Whitaker is a freshman at Petaluma High School. Lucy's a 7th grader at Petaluma Junior High School, and Henry is a 4th grader at Grant Elementary. I also have 3 nephews who attend Petaluma City Schools. My parents, Carol and Dan Labarle, attended Petaluma City Schools, so I'm very vested in the Petaluma City Schools and hope to continue to be a board member. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Next, we'll hear from Michael Baddeley.
Yeah, I would like to also thank the American Association of University of Women and the League of Women Voters and all of you who either aren't Giants fans or making a big sacrifice who are here tonight. I'm a longtime Petaluman. I grew up here and I attended public schools here. I started out at Waugh School, which isn't in our district, but is a good school, and went on to Kenilworth, Petaluma, then Santa Rosa JC, Santa Rosa JC, then UC Davis, and then Golden Gate Law School from there. My wife and I, Lisa, we've made our home here. She also attended high school here. And we have 4 children who have gone through the Petaluma High School and went through junior high. I have one that's senior. I have 2 that have graduated from college, one from UOP, one from UC Davis, and one who is currently in the engineering program down at Cal Poly. I've done a lot of different things around the community, both in sports, in leadership, speaking as a guest lecturer at the high schools. I announce at the basketball games, so I'm sure I've run across most of your paths. I am the managing partner of Baddeley, Oliver Sartori, which is a longstanding law firm here in town, and I volunteer a lot of my time to a bunch of different boards and nonprofit organizations. I am a business law attorney, primarily what I do, and I'm very familiar with the budget process, and I sit on the board. I think it's important to have private enterprise people on government boards, and I really believe in children. Everything our firm does is donating to children, all our donations. All of my civic duty has been children-related activities, and I really think that Petaluma City School District is a wonderful, well-balanced district, and I look forward to serving another 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now we'll hear from Sheri Chlebowski.
I also want to reiterate the thank yous to both of the organizations for tonight, for everyone coming, and also the candidates that are running. It's terrifying, especially when it's your first time to get up and speak about issues. My name is Sheri Chlebowski. I am a Petaluma resident now for 14 years. I met my husband and married him, and that's what brought me to Petaluma. I'm finishing my first term on the school board. I ran for election 4 years ago and was elected, or almost 4 years ago now. I have 3 children. They're all young. They're all in fact, their teachers are in the room here. I see some of them. They're all in the elementary district. So we're a governing board of 2 districts, and I have 3 elementary-aged children, 5th, 4th, and 1st grade. This was a continued sense of community obligation for me. I did a lot of community service once I ended up quitting 2 professions to stay home with my children. I started as a police officer. It's where I met my husband. And when I passed the bar, I left that to be an attorney. I practiced municipal law for the city of Benicia, and it just became a little too much with 2 little boys. So we decided I would stay home. And once I did, I realized that I just wasn't completely fulfilled staying at home. I needed to do something else, and I got involved in our community. So let's see, just to reiterate some of my community service, I started with the Petaluma Mothers Club, which was obviously a natural progression. I held some board positions there. I was the recipient of the Magnolia Award for dedicated service. I was the president of the Little Shepherd Preschool Board. I worked at Sonoma County Legal Aid, assisting victims of domestic violence. I'm the current president of our homeowner association. I was the co-founder and president, thank you, of Moms for Clean Air, vice president of PTA. I love all this community service, and I love that it's centered around children, and I feel it's really important to not only work for my own children and doing things at their own school, but I feel like we need to produce strong citizens, and we need to educate all of our children and provide for all of our children, and that's why I would like to continue doing this work. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Stephen Cozza.
All right, thank you. It's very exciting to be here today. My name is Stephen Kozo. I was born and raised here in Petaluma. I also went through the Petaluma City School System. And when I found out that there was the opportunity to run for a seat on the school board, that there were 3 spots available, what I did was I went out and I talked to previous school board members, parents, and teachers, and what I learned from them was that I would be a perfect fit for this position. I also learned that it would be an outstanding, amazing opportunity to be able to give back to our community and the youth that are in our community. So I don't know if you know much about my past, but for the past 17 years, that's all I've been doing is giving back to our youth, to children. Starting off with the national organization I started called Scouting for All when I was 13, which was working and aiming to bring equality into scouting. I was the executive director of that board. And then going on down the years, I brought an amazing program to the high schools that cater towards diversity. And then currently I'm serving on the Race for Kids nonprofit. It's a nonprofit that I started back when I was racing over in Europe, geared towards giving, helping kids with life-threatening illnesses and diseases. And now it's back in our community. So we're doing that in the community, and we're donating to the schools, and we're getting the kids from the schools involved by doing healthy exercising activities, all the while helping out other kids in our community. I now currently also serving on the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society's Executive Committee for the Man and Woman of the Year Award. And I really understand what it means to serve on a board. And I really believe that with my skills and my leadership, I can be a huge asset to the current board that we already have. I really believe that I can bring transparency to the board. I can bring open communication and shared decision making and informed decision making. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now Gonzalo Romo.
Thank you to our hosts. My name is Gonzalo Romo, and I've been here for a dozen years. Didn't go to school in Petaluma. I have an objective view. I don't have any allegiances to East Side or West Side. Although I live on the West Side. I've been involved in private business. I worked for AT&T and managed a retail location for them for 5 years. After doing that for a while, I really realized that my calling was public service, and I went back to school. Graduated recently with a bachelor's degree with Chicano Latino Studies at Sonoma State, with an emphasis on education and education policy, specifically towards that demographic. Recently, I've been involved in a few organizations around the county, starting with Latino Leaders Los 100. They tasked me a couple years ago with starting a leadership networking organization on campus called Latino Leaders of Sonoma State. I was the founder and president of that. Recently, the Sonoma County Economic Development Board asked me to be on the Next Generation Economy Project, where we're going to project future needs of our county's economy based on a variety of factors. I'm also a member of a site council group at R.L. Stevens Elementary School. I look forward to bringing a perspective that has been lacking in many boards, not for any other reason other than there's not a lot of study in deficiencies in certain areas, and I bring a piece of the puzzle that can make boards serviceable to entire groups and bring in historically excluded sectors so we can bring up our quality of education, bring up our parent engagement, bring up our networking ability across communities, and to make sure that moving forward we have a next generation that's productive citizenship to Petaluma. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, candidates. Appreciate that. And thank you all for being here. So we're going to start with a question and answer period. As a reminder, you'll each have a minute and a half to answer these questions. I know it'll be hard not to say a minute and a half. It'd be real tempting. Please ask anytime if you'd like to have a question repeated. So let's get started here. Some people's dissatisfaction about the way information is disseminated regarding district decisions on topics ranging from curriculum strategies to salary negotiations are not new. What would you do as a board member to keep stakeholders, all stakeholders, engaged and informed? And we'll be starting with Mr. Baddeley.
That's a good question. I would make sure that we were doing or continue to share decision-making. We have a lot of committees. Teachers sit on most of those. We try to reach out to the parents. We have websites, disseminate information as best we can. We're rolling in technology, and that continues to improve, and I think with the advent of that, we'll be able to broaden our outreach. I believe our board is very open to parent input, teacher input, and the other stakeholders, our classifieds, and well, teachers are certifieds, but they are all very, very important. And the way we communicate with each and every one of them is on a basically a mass informational basis, but there are pockets of opportunities for parents and teachers to participate in many different ways. For instance, our general bond obligations with this community so gracefully passed had 7 members of the community that wanted to sit on it from different factions of the community, and we were thrilled by the applicants. So there are a lot of opportunities to serve, and we have to continue to just keep pushing that information out there to find people out there who want to help us make the educational process better for all.
Terrific. Thank you very much. Same question, Ms. Chlebowski.
This is a question that I could talk about for a long time. So we have a lot of people that have to get the information about our community's schools, and I feel very strongly about that. This school doesn't belong to just the parents or just the children or just the teachers. It belongs to people that don't have children in the district. It belongs to the community. It's the community's money, and this community puts a lot of money into our schools. So as far as the board being open to the public, we have meetings second and fourth Tuesday of the month. They're open. We have a district website. It has our agendas, our board meeting dates and minutes posted on there, usually a Thursday or Friday night before every Tuesday meeting. We have public comment. Our meetings are run similar to the meetings here. As far as teachers, shared decision-making is a hot topic. It came up last election term. It comes up every election cycle, it seems. The thing about shared decision-making is I'm not sure why everyone doesn't feel that it works. And so that's something that I've been giving a lot of thought to the last few months. It seems like depending on who you talk to, there is a different reason why it's not working for them. I've heard principals say they have a hard time getting teachers to want to be on committees. I hear teachers saying, being on so many committees, I'm overworked already, I don't have time for that. However, the teachers union feels strongly that teachers are on all of our committees, and they're on every committee. Nothing gets decided without input from both of the unions, parents, etc. I think for 5 board members to reach about between 15 and 20,000 people, and that's not including the community. That's just our staff of almost 900 people. It's our students of 7,500, give or take, and teachers. I think maybe staff meetings and other places where we can get to larger groups are something I will be working on after this election and hopefully for the next term.
Thank you very much. Mr. Cozza.
Okay. I'm glad you asked this question. I think it's an area that I can really enhance on the school board. You know, we have the best schools in the county. We have the best teachers, but we also can have the best school board. And one of the first things I noticed, and I'm still noticing, is that one of the areas that needs to be enhanced and improved is bridging that gap between the teachers, the students, the parents, to the school board. You know, part of making informed decisions is talking to the students, their families, and the teachers that guide them. The greatest asset to a child's education are the teachers. Without teachers, you don't have students. So it's very, very important to listen to all the sides. And I feel like with my skill set, my leadership skills, I can bridge that gap. I've already started going out to the schools. I plan on going to the schools and talking to the teachers while on the school board and learning what they need as professionals, what the students need. They spend so much time with these children. They have the answers. So when facing tough decisions, that's how I'm going to go about approaching it. Holding open forums are very important, especially with the new LCAP coming into place. This first year was part of rolling it out, so it needs to be revised, it needs to be reviewed, and part of that is getting parental involvement, community leaders involved, and other stakeholders that are important in making these decisions, because we want to better the current schools. This is our community. We can do that.
Thank you very much. Mr. Romo.
Thank you. I think this question, you guys are all right that there's always very difficult to kind of take everyone into account when there's so many people to take into account. However, that's something that the voters can take care of, right? a way to reach as many people as possible is to have as many different people representing different areas of our community come forward and have that ability to reach out to different sectors and to represent each different stakeholder on the board, right? And having board members be that vehicle between not only from the citizenship moving on up towards the administration, but also messages from the administration going out to the public. So the voters have a lot of power in determining how effective we're going to be at reaching every single stakeholder. Going back to the LCAP, I went to a lot of the, I went to the public meeting at McDowell Elementary School, and there was about 50 people, 3 of which were parents that were not teachers. So we have to do a better job, right, of actually getting parents that aren't teachers, right, to share their ideas, and it's part of our responsibility to directly go and shake hands, meet people, say hi, let them know that they are important, that we need them, right, from every sector of the community, and that way we can get that transparency across the entire city and district.
Perfect. Thank you. Ms. Ellis?
Yes, I think as all the candidates have spoken about, communication obviously is a huge issue at any level, and certainly at a government bureaucracy level, it's difficult to disseminate information. I feel like our district does do a good job by having open public meetings, which we're required to do. Our administration doors are open. We as board members make ourselves accessible to the public, to teachers, to classified, to parents. We have emails, we have websites, we have phone numbers that are published and available to the public. We're constantly encouraging people to reach out, talk to us. I spend a lot of time at schools, you know, in community situations, at sporting events, so I'm constantly interacting with parents and teachers and staff and students and asking questions and encouraging people to get involved. And I think, as Mr. Romo said, it's always a difficult balance. I mean, we see that at every level. Like, people don't want to get involved. People hesitate to sometimes ask the question. So we need to continue to encourage it and stay involved, especially with our children's education. It's vital to our ongoing community here in Petaluma that we, you know, continue to produce outstanding citizens, civic-minded students, and we continue to educate them to their fullest potential. So I think there's always room for improvement, and going forward, I think our district will continue to work with our public and our teachers and classified to continue to improve any situations that need to be done.
Thank you very much. So now I've gotten a couple of cards from the audience. They're sort of dovetailed, so let's try and put this in a logical order. We'll be starting with Mr. Chlebowski there. Thank you.
Common spelling.
Yeah. So, what do you think is the role of technology in the classroom? As technology implementation increases, how will you support educators in receiving training for technology in the classroom?
Big question. 1.5 minutes, not enough. So our vision for technology, I think people often see when they see and hear the national headlines of children having one-to-one devices and Common Core coming down, we need to really let the people know that you need to ask your own district what it's doing and find out what we're doing. The one thing about Common Core and the implementation of technology is that we actually do get our hands more into doing what we want to do than I think people realize. Technology and one-to-one devices, I think people are also under the assumption that means a child's walking around in class the entire day staring into a device, and that's not our intention at all. My vision, and I think it's shared in our district, is that technology be used as a tool to deliver education, as a tool for teachers to communicate with parents and students, as a tool to communicate within the district itself. I think it can be a great tool. We do not want technology to replace all textbooks. We still want kids to write on paper and feel a good book in their hands and know how to work their way around the library. But we do need to make sure that, especially since Common Core is kind of our testing and our assessments are going to be on computers. We do need to make sure that everyone has access, and that's kind of why that one-to-one comes in. If a teacher's going to use a computer device for 15 minutes in their day or an hour in their day, then everyone has to have access to it. Teachers are already giving homework, some at home. Well, then we need to make sure that a child has access to technology. So not to replace the teaching or the teachers, but to be used as a tool to help instruct.
Thank you very much. Again, Mr. Kozo, what do you think is the role of technology in the classroom? And as implementation increases, how will you support educators in receiving training for technology in the classroom?
Similar to what Sheri said, technology is obviously it's very important. We're in the 21st century now, and all the testing is taking place through technology now. So, but I strongly do believe that technology needs to continue to be used as a tool for the teachers, and it should never become the foundation of education. It's ever changing. It's constantly changing. So we're constantly having to continue to train, which is fine. But because of that, it needs to remain as a tool. And we don't want our students to not learn penmanship. I mean, we want our students to continue to read books and feel the pages. I mean, that's part of the love of reading is when you're young, curling up on your bed with your mom or your dad and reading an actual book, not just looking at a screen. So I think it's very important that we keep those fundamentals and traditional ways of teaching a part of education, but we also do need to prepare our students to be ready for college with technology. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Same question, Mr. Romo.
Thank you. Yes, I actually think that one-to-one devices are. It's about time, right? I think that our science and technology standards were well overdue to being renewed or modified. On top of that, I feel that the only reservation I would have to that idea is potentially limiting more advanced type of technology curriculum and opportunities for students that want to dive into technology at a deeper level, right? And I'm just afraid that maybe if we get too carried away financially, we won't be able to provide that in the future, considering that we need to be able to provide every opportunity possible to our students, and technology is one area that I think as a whole many districts have had a hard time with, not only financially because of the situations, but because of a lack of pressure from community, right, to focus on technology as a crucial issue and as an area where we need to spend very wisely in order to provide not only the access to technology to everybody, but for those who want to go even further, to have the opportunity to learn as much as they can or go as far as they can go in the area of technology.
Thank you so very much, Ms. Ellis. What do you think is the role of technology in the classroom, and as implementation increases, how will you support educators in receiving training for technology?
It is definitely the hot topic of 2014 and going forward, as we see that with the Common Core standards, it's just ingrained in education. You can't really separate them anymore, as it seems. So I think it's important, as everyone has mentioned, that it be used as a tool in the classroom. It doesn't seem to be requirements on teachers you have to use it for a certain amount of time. I know in 8th grade right now they are piloting at both of the junior highs. Each 8th grader has been issued a one-to-one device, which has had some glitches, and we've spoken to some teachers and heard from teachers, and we're continuing to work with them and support them on training and getting them, hard copies of books if there's a child who does not have access at their home so they can do their homework. So we're recognizing all of these ongoing issues with technology at the district and trying to support our teachers and staff and parents. I mean, it's a learning tool for parents who we all grew up, reading books and marking things in textbooks. And now when we're trying to help our students at home, it's a whole different world. And it's frustrating as a parent, too, sometimes to say, what, I have to look on this computer now to find your document? So I think it's an ongoing process, and very important that going forward for our students to be career and college ready, that they have the tools for technology, because any future endeavors, they're going to be required to use technology and have access to it and need to know how to use it. So I think the continued support and education of all is very important.
Thank you very much. Mr. Baddeley.
Well, thank you. I think the crux of that question was supporting our teachers and using technology like Phoebe was alluding to. We need to make sure our teachers go to the programs that allow them to understand not only how we're implementing it, but they need to understand the devices, what it can do, and how it can integrate with their lesson plans. And we need input from the teachers because obviously teachers are concerned not only with mastering technology. It doesn't do much good if you're in there and the children know much more than you do. Like at my household, they all know more, even how to program the TV. It's a situation, though, where we have to make sure the teachers understand it, the technology, and it changes so fast. And I can really empathize and appreciate some of the older teachers, especially, wrestling with that, because it's tough to change out of something you've been doing for 20, 25 years one way. And the young ones come in, and boy, they're tech savvy, and they're linked and synced every which way you can be. So we have to find a way to get money over to the training, and we have SCO, and with smarter balanced testing and some of the things that are being mandated by the state, we really don't have a choice. But this board member also wants to make sure the students learn social interaction. People talk about one-to-one. I want one-to-one personal interaction. I really like it when our kids learn to personally collaborate and then produce on their computers, but they need to deal with each other, and I think our school system does a pretty good job of balancing that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Oh, we're ripping right along. We're into question 3. At this pace, we might get in 4. So this, I'm going to go out on a limb and say this might be from an educator. And so, work with me here. We're speaking about technology. So as the question goes, we are rapidly moving through the 21st century where science, technology, and engineering are an integral part of our everyday lives. Historically, science has taken a background, in this person's opinion, to ELA and math. But with the implementation of next generation science standards, this will no longer be possible. How often do you think, again starting with Mr. Cozza, science should be taught in the elementary grades, especially in K2? I'm going to think that's a 6. And, and how would you work to see that next generation science standards philosophy is fully implemented in the coming years? So it's clearly about next generation science standards. What's your thought on science integration in K6, and how would you support that?
Very good question. Science was a subject that I gravitated to. I was very hands-on, and I just love science. I do agree that K through 6 definitely needs to increase the amount of science that they teach. The next generation science standards is something that's going to need to be a smooth, a distant transition into the new system. But and education is going to have to go about along with that. But I think part of teaching science, you can combine it with math, and you can combine it with English as well. And I believe that you can easily fit it in to the curriculum that way. Right now, science is not being taught enough, and moving into the 21st century, it's a really important topic, and it's something that students get excited about. We need to keep our students excited, and that's one way we're going to be able to do that with the next generation science standards. So I'm definitely a strong supporter of that, and I look forward to helping implement that into our school systems. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Romo. You good with that?
Yeah, I got the privilege of speaking with some students about their ideas in science and math and English, and one kid said science was boring. Science class was boring, so that shouldn't be possible, right? And I said, well, why is it boring? And he told me that baking soda and vinegar don't cut it anymore. Well, that's valid feedback, right? That's crucial to our decision making moving forward. We need to adapt to the science and technology that's relevant today, right? We need to offer more coding classes for people that want to learn how to build websites, right? More, right, than what we're doing now. We need to offer students the opportunity to explore areas of science that are unknown to us, right? Because they're the ones that are going to be the pioneers of the sciences of tomorrow. So we have to, even if we're not comfortable with a certain type of or certain area in science, we have to be willing and able to provide them the opportunity to fall in love with science at their own pace and let them grow into whatever area they want to grow into. Now, once we get into the higher grades, I think the key would be to offer more specific courses, but at a younger level, have a broad spectrum of science available for all the students.
Thank you very much. Ms. Ellis?
I do think the next generation science standards are going to be very important going forward for all of our students. I know in the middle school, they are in the process of adopting the new program, and it's sort of been slow going. We do have a dedicated personnel at the district supporting the science program, so hopefully going forward, that person will be able to support our teachers, provide the tools, the kits, the access that our students and teachers need. Going forward, I think the hands-on with Common Core is also going to be very important. Speaking about how it can play in with English language arts and math, there's a big focus in the Common Core on nonfiction, so they can be doing some science reading to get their nonfiction credits for the English language arts, but that would obviously be a science-based book. So I think can be some creativity among teachers with the curriculum that's out there. I was just up in the 7th grade. They were dissecting cow eyeballs and pig eyeballs, which was fairly fascinating, and they all loved it. They all walked out and said, "That was the most awesome day, Miss Brooks Long." So I think more of those kind of projects are pretty cool for the kids, and for a kid who maybe isn't a real book person, to actually be cutting and dissecting and then sketching pictures, it was a very important lesson for them. And I think we need to do more of that at all levels, obviously at the younger and the elementary school levels as well. And the teachers love it as well. It just seems that, it's fun and interactive. So important at all levels to really promote the new science standards.
Thank you very much, Mr. Baddeley.
Thank you. Well, first and foremost, we have to teach them how to read. Once you know how to read, then you can study science and math and start self-teaching if you want to become a lifelong learner, like we hope all of our students become. But science and math is critical. I believe the earlier we can start it, the better. I think that it's kind of like introducing languages. I've never understood why they start in 7th grade and they don't start in 1st grade. But I think 1st, 2nd, 3rd grade, get these kids turned on to math and science. I think technology is going to help with that a little bit. But as a couple mentioned up here, Stephen, I think hands-on is important. I just think it's a wonderful concept. I know at Petaluma High School, Mr. Brazil does a great job up there. He has the kids, going through their lesson plans, but they end up making a rocket. And maybe I shouldn't tell Bowman that, but they're out there shooting off rockets. I don't know if our insurance people know, but he does a great job with hands-on. And my daughters and my son went through it, and they loved that class. The kids were thrilled with it. Petaluma High is expanding its CTE, its Certified Technical Education program. And so the kids, if they learn it at the primary grades, can come up into high school and start gravitating and practically implement their math and science curriculums. So I think if we can do a good solid plan and get parents to buy in with us. It's a little more expensive because, there's instruments and instrumentalities for science and math, especially the hands-on science. I think it's critical, and our school is moving that way because we're hearing from the business community at large, they need people that are math and science trained. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And lastly,
So the question was, how should they be taught? I think this kind of goes back to professional development and teachers and all they're asked to do right now, too. Some may love science, some may not. And now I think how it should be taught is, as we were talking, hands-on. We have great FOSS kits now and labs, and it's boxes and boxes of stuff. And I got to go up with Phoebe and see the cow eye dissection. Better them than me. But back to K through 6, I think professional development for teachers. We lost a teacher at our school over to the district to focus on the science standards, and she's doing a great job, and I hope she'll continue to love it as much as she does. I think the other thing that's great is we now have a lot of community gardens and more opportunities for kids to get their hands dirty and to learn about catching rainwater and learn about gardening and all of these things. Science labs, getting your hands in the dirt, going on field trips where I just went on a field trip yesterday or the day before with my son to a wildlife preserve and learning all about animals. And the first thing the boys want to do is they want to catch the lizard, they want to pick up the deer bones in the ground, right? They want to feel it, they want to touch it. And I think along with Common Core, the more kids are talking to one another about it, the more they're feeling it, the more they're touching it, the more they're going to comprehend, the more excited they're going to be. So So that's what I would say, is really making sure teachers have the professional development and the tools and the kits to run these labs in the classroom so kids can get in there and get their hands dirty and be really involved in science.
Perfect, thank you so much. Well, looking back to make sure to allow you proper time to close, we're going to ask just a little quickie. This is sort of like a fast question. It will this be starting with you, Mr. Romo. It's only yes or no, so it's not a big challenge. But how do you feel about, do you support Measure M? That would be the library tax. Yes or no?
Yes.
Ms. Ellis?
Yes.
Mr. Baddeley?
Yes.
Chlebowski? Oh, sorry,
not
keep
even
putting the
gonna
L in the wrong way. Yeah.
Chlorine Chlebowski. Gosh, we're very fortunate that our community has already really supports our libraries. And if the community wants to continue supporting them, then yes.
Mr. Cozza?
Yes.
All right. So now it's time to do closing remarks. As you might recall, we started on this end, and so we're going to start this time and come backward. Mr. Romo, give us your best shot. Give about 2 minutes of why you are the one of three.
First of all, thank you to everybody that came and to everyone up here for allowing me to be with you guys. Also, I do want to tell you guys why I'm running at the core, right? And I want to start that by saying that it would be an honor to serve with anybody that's currently on the board. I have no problem with any piece of the board, right? I just feel like the sum of its parts could be better. I feel like I bring a knowledge that's not on the board currently, and I as you guys would assume, right, don't have a lot of experience with, maybe legal terms or budgets, but the purpose of the board isn't to have 5 of the same minds. It's to have different minds, and I trust the people that are currently on the board to guide me in better judgment when it comes to issues that aren't my strong point. And I expect the same from the current board members when it comes to issues that aren't their strong points. I've always been critical, right, of administrative positions, board positions growing up. However, as the years have gone by, I've gained a lot of respect for people that have the courage to take leadership, right, to be in the line of fire of criticism and to make difficult decisions. And I look forward to providing more of a facilitator to the board, someone that is willing to work with the members that are in the community giving me feedback and the people that are on the board with me that want to make this school better. I offer you guys knowledge on areas from using literature to close achievement gaps, right? And I offer ways to solve issues without spending more money. It's not about spending more. I'm not here to do that. I'm here to work differently, to work effectively, and to work in a way that's going to be beneficial to the entire district, both for the students and for our fiscal situations.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cozza. Final remarks.
Turn that on. Now, not all the voters in our community have children, but one thing that we all share in common is that we have, as Petalumans, is that we have a deep love for our community and the children that are within our community. And part of that is continuing to have a strong school system and continuing to have a strong board. I really feel that some of the things that I've been witnessing and seeing, we're at a very critical point. I could almost say a dangerous situation with our schools. You're starting to see the morale go down. You're starting to see teachers think about switching districts. You're starting to hear students, the morale travels throughout the class. And the reasons for that being is because not only teachers, even parents are feeling that they're not being heard when important decisions are being made. And I really feel that I'll be able to bring that to this school board. I really feel that it's needed. We do need more diversity on this school board. We need people coming from different angles and different views. We need more transparency. I really feel that I will bring accountability to the school board. It's very important. And I know deep down within my heart that we can always improve. The fact that there's this race going on and it's a competitive race is a very good thing. The fact that there's conflict going on right now at these school board meetings between the teachers and the school board is a good thing, because I'm starting to see communication happen. And from the first one to the second one to the third one, I'm starting to see the school board listening and being receptive to what the people are saying and crying and telling them. This is really important. We need to keep that going. I know that when I'm on the school board, I will make sure that continues to happen. It's very important, not only for our community, but mostly important for our students.
Thank you very much. Mr.
Chlebowski.
Chlebowski.
Forget the H. Just throw it right on out. Okay, so we're hearing a lot about shared decision-making and people being heard, and it's one thing to say you'll listen to people, but to truly hear them and then to act on that is a completely different thing. One of the things that I've worked really hard on is getting out to the schools and getting out to functions and getting out to events, and some of these things weren't being done before I got on the board. The other thing that hadn't happened on the board when I was elected last time is there weren't anybody left with small children. So if you talk about diversity, if some of us aren't re-elected, there won't be a parent representation on the board next year, and I think that's really important. You know, we have almost 900 employees. We have almost 7,500 students. Most of them, or many of them, have two parents or a parent and a grandparent. Most kids have more than one person that are involved in their education. So I think what gets a little frustrated for me in regards to this I'm not being heard is that if I go out to school and I talk to 2 or 3 teachers, if they don't share that, other teachers may not know I'm there. These are one of the things I was talking about earlier about what I want to really figure out how to reach more teachers than I have been. I've sat with our assistant superintendent last week with a parent for 2.5 hours to talk about her questions with Common Core. Now, the other 7,500 students and their parents have no idea that that happened that day. My point is I feel like I'm really trying to get out there. I feel that I hear you, that some people feel like they're not being heard, so let's work on it more. Staff meetings maybe to get to more teachers in one time than just visiting a school and seeing only a handful. Things like that I'm going to try to be more creative about and try to reach more people. But we're 5 members, and again, 15 to 20,000 people involved directly in our school. It's hard for everyone to feel like you've personally touched them. So we'll have to figure out more ways to be more creative about that, and that's what I intend to do. I would really like to continue to work for our community, and I hope I get the opportunity to.
Thank you very much, Mr. Baddeley.
Thank you. This is my 5th year, running up on my 5th year on the board, so it'll be my 2nd term. But I think our board is currently constituted, and the trustees are myself, Sheri, Phoebe, Troy, Sanderson, and Mary Shaver. It's an extremely high-functioning, experienced body that, quite frankly, during the Great Recession, maintained the financial viability of the district. We worked hard with all the district stakeholders, the teachers, the parents, administrators, et cetera, and we achieved the highest public high school graduation rate and the lowest dropout rate in Sonoma County, and I'm proud of that. We also managed to preserve all of our classes and programs at every level throughout the district, including music, art, and our CTE programs. Our board was very proactive in initiating and supporting the recently passed general obligation bond measures, and we secured that ongoing source of funds to make sure our students have the necessary technology and modern educational arts and athletic facilities required to meet the 21st century learning environment criteria. We're in the midst of many mandated changes. You know, Common Core instruction, local control funding formula budget. For those of you who don't know, that was the new local financing that the state set up for us. We passed our first LCAP, which is basically a fluid document that will be subject to periodic review, but I'm proud to say at least at this level we got it signed off on by the county and state. But that's something that will be a constant source of analysis and investigation. And I'd like to continue to work with my fellow board members to basically ensure that this district maintains effective educational opportunities for all our students as necessary to prepare and qualify them for job-ready careers and post-secondary academic pursuits. we're the largest, I think, largest employer in Petaluma. We have a $68 million plus budget. It's not for the faint of heart. There's a lot going on, and we need to make sure we kind of navigate it as best we can in sometimes what is tumultuous state political times. So I'd appreciate your vote, and I look forward to talking to any of you that may ever want to talk to me about anything. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Ms. Ellis.
Well, over a year now, so it's definitely an interesting learning curve, and I feel like there's lots more to learn, and to hopefully serve for 4 more years would be very important to me, and to the consistency of the board and following through with many things that have been implemented, and going forward, having continuing ongoing input from teachers and classified personnel and parents and students. There are so many incredible people in Petaluma, and we're fortunate to have the Petaluma City Schools here. So I feel like our board is very vested in continuing that success and with ongoing input, and we can only continue to improve our children's education and their happiness and success. And it's going to take the entire community, as it has for many years. So I'm just hoping to be able to continue in this position to carry on many of the traditions here in Petaluma while implementing change with technology and Common Core. And I appreciate everyone being here tonight and listening. And again, I am available after tonight's forum and by email or for coffee. I encourage conversations and complaints and compliments, whatever may come. So thank you very much for your time.
Well, there you have it, everybody. This was just a snapshot of these fine candidates. Please visit their websites or give them a call as they've invited. You have some opportunities to find out more things from the League of Women Voters at smartvoter.com. This will be replayed on Vimeo online if you didn't get enough of it tonight. As we come to the close of the evening, now is the time to thank these candidates for joining us. Please join us in a round of applause. For over 50 years, AUW has brought you candidates forums, usually with our BFFs, the League of Women Voters, and we both encourage you to be informed and educated voters and participate in government. On behalf of AUW and League of Women Voters, I ask you to remember to vote on or before November 4th. Remember, vote early, vote often.